Okay, hello everybody. I hope you guys are doing great. My name is Simon Saleh from Berkshire, Hathaway, the Loft House. Today we are hosting one of our first event, the Passionate Realtors. The Passionate Realtors will be posted every month on social media such as YouTube, Facebook, and this is a real estate show slash podcast that will be starting this January 2021 by me. Our mission is dedicated to bring real estate experts, lenders, developers, and investors together to discuss the real estate market in Detroit. Our values is to provide our clients with market resources, guidance, especially when it comes to home, selling, buying, and investing. So let me introduce our guest that came in today to our show. Let's start with Stephanie. Stephanie, thank you so much for coming in to our show. You can start by just giving us a small background about yourself.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. My name is Stephanie Janiga. I'm a real estate agent. I've been in the business for about 15 years now, and pretty much work all around Detroit metro area, 5 different counties. I specialize most in working with sellers and knowing how to get their house sold in different markets. Since I've been in the business since 2006, I've kind of made it through a tough real estate market and then, what I would call a pretty easy one. But in each one, it definitely takes different techniques to get a house sold. So that's what I come here to let you know about today.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Stephanie. And I do appreciate you for coming in today. Let me introduce our second guest, Mr. Bazzy Sells, Sam Bazzy.
Hi, Sam Bazzy from EXP. I've been a realtor for approximately 7 years. I'm also a teacher, getting ready to gear my way out of that profession. Enjoy social media, marketing, real estate. I do real estate throughout anywhere in the Metro Detroit area, even outside of it too as well. Wherever my car goes, that's where I go. I specialize in selling and buying houses, and that's me.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Mr. Bazzy. So when it comes to buying or selling, you're always going to need one thing, and that's the keys. Let me introduce Mr. Keys.
Looking for your house keys? I got them.
Absolutely.
Hey guys, my name's Beydoun. I'm a realtor at Keller Williams Legacy out of Dearborn. We're in a fairly new office here. It's one of the first Keller Williams offices in the region, actually. So we're having that competition and that battle between opening a new office and trying to sustain, current business. And it's been a great ride. We've been open for about a year and a half now. I've been in the business for roughly around 5 years now. I started off at a different brokerage previous to this. And I do specialize in both buying, selling, and commercial as well. Yep.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mr. Keys.
Thank you.
And yeah, for sure. And well, we're going to jump to the topics. So there are 3 topics that we want to talk about today. One is selling in today's market. The second one is buying in today's market. And the third topic is social media in today's market. So the lead for this topic, selling in today's market, will be Stephanie. So it's all you, my friend.
Thank you. So I love this market right now. We're in a very nice market. So what I call, this is like the perfect storm of real estate. We've got so many good things going on right now, and especially for sellers and buyers, really. But just speaking in terms of sellers right now, number one is our inventory. We're at the lowest inventory in the last couple of years that you can imagine right now. Generally on a scale of like 1 to 6 months, if you're at about 3 months or 4 months, you're in a pretty neutral market. We're sitting at about a month and a half to 2 months worth of inventory right now. Meaning if nothing else came on the market today, all of that real estate would be scooped up in about a month and a half. So there's not many homes for sale. There's not a lot of competition, which makes it really nice as a seller. It's not fun to be up against, 50 other houses for sale. It's nice when you only have 4 or 5 that are actually competition and everything's selling. Secondly, it's kind of easy to get the house sold right now because there's a lot of incentives for the buyers. One is just the interest rates. We're at, ungodly low interest rates right now. Some of them in the 2% range, 1% range for even like 15-year, mortgages that are out there. And that's really like sparking the market and pushing a lot of buyers into it. Next, if you're in a price range that I would say is basically very affordable for most people. So if you're sitting in a price range that's, let's just say 300,000 and below, it's selling like hotcakes right now. So not only do we have like first-time home buyers that are in that price range, we've got move-up buyers that are making their second move into that price range. And then we've got empty nesters that are downsizing into that same price range. So it's making it uber competitive. We're seeing a lot of bidding wars, so to speak. We're getting a lot of offers that are way above the asking price with appraisal guarantees. So it's incredible in that sort of sense. I was looking at the stats today, and I was looking at pricing and just where we've gone with the prices over the last couple years. And going back to 2017, the difference between 2016 and 17, we went up about 8% in the average median sale price. We moved up each year about 8%, 5%, 7%. Well, this last year we moved up about 18%. So if that gives you any sort of idea of where prices are right now, there's only a certain amount of time that you can sustain, this type of growth. So in my mind, like if you're going to make a move, you do it. We've got a lot of things going on in our world right now that are potentially making our market questionable as to where things might go in the next year or two. We've got a presidential election that just happened that I'm sure will affect things in some sort of way. And we've just been, appreciating price-wise now for really about 8 years or so. So there's always a natural, cycle to the market. So I always think if you're going to move, now is an incredible time to like really bank on your house and get your money out of it. And then we've all gone through 2020 here. And I think a lot of us too have realized that we either enjoy where we live or there's something that we're not enjoying about where we're living right now. And for a lot of people, their needs have changed, not just wants, but their needs have changed a lot. We've got, husband and wife couples, working from home together and needing office space along with, kids working from home and doing the homeschooling and things like that. So the needs have changed. So if anything, again, I just go back to, if you're not happy with where you're living, now's the time to make that change. And it's a very good time in the market to do it.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Stephanie.
Yes.
I will, does anybody want to add anything?
So Stephanie's that person that I have to kiss up to all the time to get my offer accepted in this market, I guess, right?
Yeah, that's it.
It's a good end to be on. Yeah, it can be tough on the buyers a little bit right now because it is that competitive. Yes.
Yes, it is. I totally
Stephanie
agree.
You hit it dead on when you said that inventory is very low, because it's never been so low ever since 1982.
Yes.
So the inventory, it's just crazy. 1982 was the
I
last
didn't go
time.
back that far. Yeah, that's incredible.
That's nuts.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Now we are going to move to the next topic, which is buying in today's market, and that's going to be Mr. Keys. It's all you, my friend.
Yes. Hey, how's it going? Yep, buying in today's market, man. Tell you, it's a challenge working with buyers in today's market, considering the lack of inventory, as Stephanie was saying earlier. Every house, it's like a piece of steak, and there's like 10 lions attacking it, and everybody's coming in competitively with highest and best multiple offers, lack of contingencies, no private inspections, high deposits, non-refundable appraisal guarantees. And you have buyers at some points where they come in and every buyer, God bless them all, has different types of financing needs and different types of, circumstances where they may not be able to compete. So having a buyer of that nature in this market's kind of tough, because you got to kind of, put them under your wing and take them with you for the ride. You can't just leave them out there to rot. So a lot of buyers in this market, I have to future pace. Number one, when they come into my office, we sit down and we talk about where we are in today's market regarding the good and the bad. And I always tell them, I future pace them, guys, you're going to go out to a lot of homes. You're going to see a lot of homes that you love. Do not emotionally attach yourself to the property, because there could be a high chance that we may not get this home. Now, I do everything in my nature, and I've used a lot of creative techniques and different types of ways of getting offers accepted, such as, like if Stephanie was the listing agent and I had a buyer, I'll on the spot pull out my phone and pull out a video and start recording messages, recording videos with my clients and telling them, pretty much telling them to tell the listing agent and the sellers, things that they like about the home. I mean, recently I had a client, I had them record their 3 children with sad faces talking about 3 different things that they liked about the home. And granted, the offer didn't get accepted even then. It's kind of cold and heartless, right? But that's the market that we're in. It's a cold, brutal, heartless market. Sometimes we get lucky, sometimes we don't. And the good thing is, as Stephanie was also saying, that interest rates are low. Buyers have buying power right now. They really do. I mean, granted, the prices are skyrocket. Supply and demand chain is kicking in. We have a lack of supply. We have a high demand. Therefore, prices rise. Right? There's a correlation there, a direct correlation between the supply and demand chain and prices, obviously. And we know that buyers also, what are they getting? What are they getting on their end of the stick? Obviously, they're getting lower price interest rates. I mean, as Stephanie was saying, I closed the buyer out yesterday, 2.2 interest rate. And while the closer was closing the documents out and she was signing off and she was reviewing his HUD settlement statement, she chuckled and said 2.2. I haven't seen this in a while, right? Probably never seen this before ever, because we're at a historic low of interest rates. I mean, some buyers have $150,000 buying power right now based on the interest rates that they're in.
Thank you so much, Mr. Keys, and I do appreciate you explaining everything. You did a wonderful job just going over everything, especially when it comes to supply and demand. A lot of people are like really confused of what's going on, especially like myself. I put in a lot of offers, and just like exactly what Stephanie said, sometimes our offer didn't go through. And like I've been working with the same clients, and I think so far we've been on the 6th, 7th offer, even though we used escalation clause and all that stuff. So.
Yeah.
So with this right now, like everybody's going through that scarcity mode, especially when it comes to selling. Like a lot of people are afraid, they're scared, they should put their houses on the market because they don't know what's next. Just exactly what, like we go back to what Stephanie said, there's a new election, there's a virus. But hopefully with what's going on right now with, people being, getting the vaccine and, the banks right now, hopefully they've been working on plans on getting like everybody to, work on a mortgage plan, and we'll see how things go. So,
Definitely.
thank you so much, Mr. Keys, and let me introduce our next guest, Mr. Sam Bazzy. Sam Bazzy, he will be talking about social media in today's market. He is the agent that you will find on your Instagram stories or Facebook. He's all over the place, and he was able to convert those leads into buying and selling just through social media. And that's a really good thing to see. So, Mr. Bazzy, it's all you, my man.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me again, by the way. So social media is by far one of the most powerful tools, free tools out there that any agent or any business can utilize. That being said, there's a reason why they call it social media. So as a realtor, and a perspective as a realtor, what you need to realize on social media is not just a tool where you're going to post listing after listing after listing. There's a reason why they call it social media. They call it social media because it's basically there for you to be able to interact with other individuals and show people what you do on a regular basis throughout your life experience. So a couple of pointers that I'd like to say in social media. Number one is it's free. Number two, when you're on there, you definitely have to be original. You have to be yourself. And your goal as a realtor, or even as a person, is to be able to get yourself to engage with that follower or that friend, whether it be on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok. So all of those platforms can be utilized the right way and can benefit you as a realtor or any other business if you do it right. Literally, I personally, as a realtor, I don't cold call. I do not prospect. I don't do any of that. I get a lot of referrals, but most of my buyers and sellers come to me through social media because we have that engagement on there to where my goal is to be able to show them what I do on a day-to-day basis and connect with them, whether it be a stolen hot water tank or something. But your goal is to be able to show them what you do as a person, and then once they get that connection, you have that conversation with them, and then you kind of earn their trust because now you're like them and they're like you. Very important to stay active on social media, because a lot of times what we say is out of sight, out of mind. So your goal is to always be engaged, always to always post and to be on the stories, because people really do look at that stuff, and you kind of gauge your followers. You see who's watching what and what's going on. Very important as an agent to be very unique. People can see right through you. Definitely keep your profile updated. That's very, very important. Post regularly, but do not be a spammer. Um, when people on social media, when they're on there, they're not going to keep looking at every. I mean, imagine yourself going on Facebook and you keep seeing a post from the same individual 4 different times, different posts. That's kind of annoying for a lot of people, and a lot of times they scroll up through that. Try to interact with the audience. Very important that you tag other businesses, because when you tag them, they do appreciate that, and then in return, they will tag you as well. And when you do share something, you're share without basically expecting anything from them. Be yourself, be helpful, be positive, give credit to where credit is due. Make sure you stay positive all the time. I feel like being positive all the time and smiling and doing that actually helps me out, and people see that I'm a positive person. And more than likely, 9 out of 10 times, people want to watch somebody who's positive than, you know, any type of negative aspects of somebody's life. Have fun doing it. That's something that I do. I definitely have fun doing what I do, because when you do see my stories, whether it be the good, the bad, or the ugly, I'm always smiling and I'm enjoying it and I'm always learning. Nobody's perfect. Everybody has issues in their lives, and social media is there for people to understand you as a person. And the most important part of it, I believe, is to respond to individuals. When people, when you connect with people and they ask questions or they say, "Oh, we did this and that," make sure you respond to them, because the response is very important. And people remember you, like I said, out of sight, out of mind. When people watch you on social media, they see the things that you do, they think of you. And then a lot of times I get these referrals and they say, "Hey, somebody told me Bazzy sells," and they just give me a call. But a couple of things that you should not do on social media is, number one, like I said, don't be a spammer. Do not complain a lot. Avoid like poor grammar or spelling. A lot of people I see, they write in all caps. That could be annoying to the eye. Um, Stay away from 2 things. One thing I learned in social media: stay away from 2 things. Stay away from religion. Stay away from politics. Those can really damage you and hurt you. Stay neutral. You don't need to talk about that stuff. Because I mean, you have your own opinions, but then again, other people have their own opinions, and it could be negative in the aspect of your career when it comes to being a realtor and gaining that business. And don't be too concerned about the number of followers that you have. A lot of people get concerned. Just if you be you and you do what you do on a day-to-day basis, then eventually people will start following you if they like your content. And then, another thing I noticed a lot of other realtors do: posting houses for sale every single time. This came up. This came up. If you just keep posting real estate, real estate, real estate, real estate, real estate, real estate, I'm sorry to say this, but people, unless they're looking for a house, they're going to keep scrolling up. So basically, in the end, your goal as a realtor, if you're trying to improve your business, which I have seen increase significantly in my aspect, in my field, if you be you and you do what you do and you show everybody socially what you do on a day-to-day basis, and you get that connection, you're gold. So I highly recommend that if you do that, especially the agents out there that just keep posting about houses, 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 and the realtor, that really does not work. It doesn't work. You're just marketing basically real estate, real estate, real estate, real estate, and you're just going to bore people, and they're just going to scroll up. So
I agree. And you know what? The reason I agree is because I already know your daily routine. I already know when soon you leave your house, you have to go between those 2 trees, and because that's something that you did. So you're making it a little bit more a little bit personal, but not too personal. You show people what you're doing, and that's what I love about you, man. You're always like showing positivity, and that's what we need. We need people like you. So, and this is something that I started doing after I saw your social media. I was like, let me take advantage of it. And now I'm like at 2,700 followers. Just had Instagram for like a year, maybe not even less, a couple months, and it's like it's growing so fast. So I do thank you so much. You are the man. Bazzy sells all the time. So I am going to bring everybody back to the screen, and I did. thanks to social media, here's what I did. I posted a post on Instagram, and I said we have guests, ask them questions. And people did send questions. So we are going to go over a couple of the questions that people send in. Anybody can answer, or if you guys want, each person can answer the question individually. But it's like we'll start with Sam Bazzy, then we can go to whoever wants to answer the same question, or we can move on to the next one. So, what happens if the house appraises under the offer price?
Oh, okay. What happens if the house appraises? Well, you have options. You have many options. As a buyer, you can actually increase your offer. Okay. And as a seller, you can either accept it or reject it. But there's many different things that you can do when it comes to that aspect. I mean, it's very tricky actually. As a matter of fact, I just had that with one of my properties 2 days ago, where we accepted an offer for $359,000, and then it appraised for $350,000, and we met halfway, and the buyers were able to come up at least $5,000, and we were good to go. So there's many different ways that you can actually figure that out and get your offer accepted. I mean, this is why we're there as agents. We're there to make sure that we make the deal happen, basically.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bazzy. Does anybody want to add anything, or we can move on to the next one?
I think the other thing to think about is a good way to circumvent a low appraisal, which is by making sure that the listing agent is actually showing up to the property when the appraiser shows up there. So I know for a fact, I'm going to say 99% of the time when I show up for my appraisals, it goes well. And those times that I haven't, it's a total crapshoot because I can send 5 appraisers into the same property and I guarantee I get 5 different values. So try to circumvent the issue ahead of time by making sure the listing agent is going out there to meet the appraiser.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Stephanie. I mean, an appraisal is an opinion of a human, right? A human's opinion. So obviously the presentation of another person, another professional being there will definitely make a difference. For sure, Stephanie.
Sure, I agree, 100%.
Thank you so much, guys. So the next question that we got, and these are from Instagram, by the way. What are the closing costs and how much they will be? So we can go with Mr. Keys.
What was that question? I'm sorry, I didn't really hear your voice cut out.
The question is, what are the closing costs and how much will they be?
Closing costs vary, really. I mean, they vary based on that's more of a lender's question, right? They vary based on whatever interest rate they're getting, whatever the value of the house is, and whatever the taxes are on the property. They take if you're financing conventionally or going through a bank, then they take 1 year of taxes and hold it in escrow. They'll take 1 year of the insurance and hold it in escrow, and then you'll have your closing cost. But that's a lender's question, really. It varies from situation to situation, file to file.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Keys. And we do have the next episode. We are going to bring 3 lenders from 3 different banks. So maybe we can add this question to them. I do thank whoever asked the question. Now let's go to the next one. What happens if the inspector finds something wrong? We'll go with Stephanie. Then we'll have anybody else they can add.
Perfect. It's common. I mean, anytime you go into a home inspection, I don't care how new the house is, it's likely that you're going to walk away with a laundry list of items. And if you, number one, straightforward, just read an inspection report without actually being there, it's probably going to sound very scary just because they list every little last thing that they can find. And a lot of times they're not, sometimes they're big deal items and other times they're not. So one, I do try to go through more of the items that are a larger concern, not like, oh, there's a stain on the carpeting, because generally when we make offers based on what we see is happening in the house. So if you see things that are broken ahead of time, you should make your offer based on that. So those things I try not to go back with, but it's more so you're wanting to look at things like the mechanicals and the electrical and the plumbing and, the foundation of the property and the roof. And if something is wrong with it, you can simply go back after the home inspection and say, hey, I would like the seller to either fix, X, Y, and Z, or maybe they're not, maybe they don't have people to fix stuff, or maybe they're out of state and it's a little bit tougher, or for whatever reason. Sometimes it's easier just to handle money. So you can say, you know what, instead of doing X, Y, and Z, why don't we just take $2,000 off the price, or give me, you know, a certain amount of concessions to go towards my closing costs instead.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. Does anybody wants to add anything?
Yeah, so the reason why a buyer does an inspection is just to make sure that there's nothing major in the property, right? And some buyers, they may go into a house, especially first-time home buyers, not having that expectation, and they have an expectation of, okay, here is this list of things that are wrong with the property or may not be wrong, or things that may need to be maintained, right? Such as grading issues outside or whatnot, just typical house maintenance stuff. And here, I'm going to hand this to the seller and make them do everything. So what I do is I future pace them as well and tell them the seller is not required to do all these things, right? The purpose of this is to make sure that we know what you're buying is not going to cost you any money or incur any cost on you over time, and what you're buying and the condition that you're buying this property in is actually in good condition and feasible condition for you to live in. Now, it's a manual. You're buying just like when you get a car, right? You get a manual in that little glove compartment. It tells you everything about the car. What you're doing is you're pretty much buying a manual for this property, and this inspector is going over everything, you know, to make sure that it's good. Granted, if there's anything wrong with the house, if there's any major issues, we automatically, you know, make sure that the client's aware of that, because that's the most important thing. And we let them know that, hey, you have the right to back out of this. It's a contingency. There's something wrong, and you know, we leave that up to them at that point for sure.
You bring up a good point there. I just want to add too. So yes, you do have a protection period there for the home inspection. So if you go into this house and it's just a total nightmare and you want nothing else to do with it, you can back out of that purchase agreement and get your earnest money deposit back, as long as you're doing it within the time frame that you specified.
Right.
Yeah, I just like to point out too, if your realtor tells you you don't need a private home inspector, I don't think they're because I've had that experience with some individuals that came to me and they said, hey, you know, we're going to do an inspection on this house and this, that. So make sure you get a private home inspection. It will definitely benefit you 100%.
For sure.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys. You guys are doing a beautiful job answering these questions. We are going to go to one last question, and that's because we're running out of time. We only have a couple of minutes left. But somebody asked, who pays the commission, the seller or the buyer, and how much? I'm assuming that's got to be one of my friends. I don't know. So, but, anybody can answer this question if you guys like. Anybody can jump in.
Keys is going to pay this.
Yeah. Commission. I mean, typically the way it works is, and sometimes we're like attorneys. Sometimes buyers tell us, how much do I owe you? And I always tell them, you guys don't owe me anything. It's not like, this is a common thing where it's a good question actually, because they don't know. We're like attorneys. We don't get paid till the seller does, right? So the seller usually pays the commissions out. They usually have a negotiation between the seller and the listing agent, and they can, you know, co-broke and split their costs with us. But the seller usually pays the commission out.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and the reason the seller pays this commission is because they're the people who are getting the money, and it makes sense. So
Yep.
you're making money, so you're gonna pay a little bit of commission.
Exactly.
Good. Beautiful. Thank you so much, guys. And I do want to thank our sponsors, even though I wasn't able to share the screen, but I do want to thank Signature Title Company. And I also want to thank Iview Inspection and ADT Security from Safe Haven and Meemic Insurance. And I will put the link for those sponsors in the description of this video, where they can be reached out. I'll put the phone number and email for all of them. And I also will put the information for our guests. I will put their names with their email address and phone numbers if you guys want to reach out to them at any time. Once again, thank you so much, guys, for coming in and for being on this podcast. Go ahead, Mr.
You guys know I'm a social media guy, so
Social media guy.
Yeah.
this is something that's going to come over on my post. I'm going to have that on Instagram and Facebook. But these are the guys right here. We've got Stephanie, we've got Simon, and we've got Keys. Say what's up, everybody.
That's awesome. Hey.
Hey, guys. So yeah, this video will be on our Facebook page, it will be on LinkedIn, and it will be on our YouTube channel. Once again, thank you so much, guys, and you guys have a great night. I had a great night. I hope you guys did as well. So thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
Take care, guys.
Good night.
Good night.